going here. Just need to set this thing up. Be off to the races. Alright. Put that there. Put everything else here. And here we go. Hello, everybody. Got ourselves a nice little star to paint today. It's the Wolf's Dragoon's Assault Star, if you're not already familiar with that unit. Wolf's Dragoons, most well-known and respected mercenary command in the Inner Sphere, and their mech warriors are some of the most skilled and feared across many hundreds of worlds. Once more, the Inner Sphere is poised for war, and the Wolf's Dragoons are on the forefront. Unleash the Wolf's Dragoon's Assault Star on your enemies. Included are the new Annihilator, Reposed Timberwolf, and Rifleman, and new variants of the Archer and Blackjack. No assembly required, along with 10 Mech Warrior cards, 5 Alpha Strike cards, perfect for Battletech and Alpha Strike action. There we go. So, there we have it. We've got the 5 mechs, as promised. Looking good. I did the basic base coating on them. I'll move the camera down a little bit closer. Did the base coating on them last night. I'll kind of walk through the process here just to get you caught up. Know what I used. So I don't want to do. I can't do the stream and airbrushing at the same time. So I prepped it last night, knowing that I would do it today on stream. So for these mechs, we've got hit it with first the brown primer, the Vallejo brown primer, the red brown, which is a good base for any red on top of it. So you don't have to do, if you did a black and then tried to do red over the top, you're going to have to do multiple coats. That could take a while, but with a nice red brown base coat, primer color, and Terry's red here from Scale 75 did a really good job of going over the top. And then for the legs, used the Army War Painter Rough Iron, some metallic paint, very very dark metallic color for the legs. So that's that. Those there, so they can look pretty. Looking pretty. Doesn't like good paint. So blending up on the legs with the second color gives it some character. Once I had the red, then I washed it with Agrax Earthshade just to get it grimy and dirty in all the little nooks and crannies. And then over the top of that, I dry brushed with Astorath Red. So that was just on the top of the on the red part. So it didn't do it all the way down on the legs. So that gets us up to where we are now with the Battlemechs as they stand here. So I was going to start pulling out some details with some good old reliable lead belcher. It's hard to beat the reliability of that for pulling out some of these weapons. Look at the missile pods, and all of that helps create some differentiation between the mech armor and the weaponry that it's using. So I'll get going here once I get it shook up. All shook up. Hello everyone who has shown up so far. Really appreciate it. I know it's very short notice there, and I'm still working on what would be the best schedule for a more reliable stream. But just doing it more this week was the goal, and so pretty much every day for at least a little bit we will do some painting and make some progress on some of this pile of junk that needs to be painted before I drown under all of the resin. Unpainted resin is piling up. Alright, let's get a nice brush. And we'll start with the Annihilator. I love the Annihilator. Probably one of the more realistic designs that you would actually see if Battlemechs were a real thing, with the sloped armor on the front, so bullets would bounce off rather than, well, it's not so bad on, well, kind of bad on this Rifleman, where rounds will hit just flat on face and puncture through that armor, which I guess is fitting for Riflemen that tend not to be very successful bullet walls. So we will, let's get some of these weapons painted up. I don't think I've ever painted an Annihilator before, so this is a first. Owning mostly clan mechs growing up, so a lot of the Inner Sphere ones I haven't done before. But I've painted a ton of Inner Sphere mechs in the past couple of months, so it's kind of cool. Amazing what a successful Kickstarter that wave, the clan wave did, and then the fact that I can 3D print almost anything I want, as long as I can find the file. That's good too. Just gradually pushing projects off of the slate this week. It's good. Got Christmas presents done. Got the hobby vices stuff printed off and wrapped up, and we'll get it shipped out this afternoon. I got a present from my parents that I printed out. I'm going to paint up a statue of classical statue that's going to look like it's actually carved out of marble, which will be cool. So lots of little projects done this week. It's feeling good already. And we're working on maybe getting some MDF bases, because I've been printing bases out of, well, this is the Catalyst bases obviously, but printing bases from resin, and they're fine, but I think we can do them cheaper from MDF. So I'm talking with somebody who does that sort of thing, and we'll see if she can print me up a couple hundred MDF bases that I can then base however I choose, and that will be a cheaper option rather than trying to print them out of resin. Save the resin for printing actual Battlemechs. That'd be nice. Keep the eyes on the prize, and especially if it just costs me $10, $20 for 150, 200 bases that I'll never run out and can use as my heart sees fit. So we'll see on that. Lots of collaborating going on. If I can hopefully, maybe she can have that design just be a thing that you can order off of her Etsy store. That'd be kind of cool. Help other players out too. So already you can see the lead belcher kind of pulling the guns out from the rest of the mech, since they should be something that you can focus on with your eye. Looking pretty good. I counts those little things in front as weapons. Well, I'm going to still do some gold on these for kind of the little metal fiddly bits that aren't armor, but for now I'm just going to do the lead belcher. The back of mechs don't get enough attention. I wonder how many Battletech fans could look at the back of a Battlemech and tell you, oh yeah, I know exactly what mech that is. So we're so used to just seeing the front. Like that's a Banshee versus that's a Battlemaster. Might not be so easy. Some would be. Like Annihilator, pretty identifiable from the rear. It's got that egg shape. It's pretty hard to miss. Timberwolf, of course, would be easy to spot. Mad Dog. Coming along. I'm digging this two-tone. I think that's working for this. I think if they were just all red, that would have been too much. So the legs kind of mute it down a little bit. Give them a little bit of contrast. Some character. Alright, so I think we're good for guns on that one. Let's do the Rifleman. Move you up here. The paint's out of the way. You kind of had your chance with the paint. There you go. Alright, so now you got a view of all of them when we work here. Rifleman, best known for those big arm guns. It'd be interesting to see a real one actually get knocked over and try to get back up again. Be pretty much impossible, but it's still a neat mech. We don't sweat the little stuff in Battletech. We suspend our disbelief to play giant stompy robots. Never mind that in the last 30 years of technology have made such creations largely obsolete. That's alright. You have cruise missiles that can go hypersonic and drones that can do much of your work for you. But we don't dwell on it. It's just about the having fun with the big stompy robots. I guess I have to be careful now calling them robots, because somebody got mad at me in Discord when I jokingly said that. Like, they're not robots. Okay. Calm down. Life is too short to get upset over silly things. Like toys. Besmirch his honor by calling them robots. Actually, they are blank. The heck was that? Oh, we got such a sub. I haven't gotten one while doing a stream, so I appreciate that. That threw me off. Like, what the heck is that sound? That's just me messing with myself because I set that up in the streaming software and then forgot about it. Anyway, appreciate the sub. Try to earn it. Painting robots and mech and dinosaurs sometimes. Put the dinosaur in there. See Battlemech with dinosaur to scale. There you go. Now there's a fight. The giant crocodile versus the Battlemech. Fight of the century. got his main guns. I think he's got the bits on the inside here. Let's see if I can get it without making too much of a mess. Nerves of steel. Yeah. Great. That grate just wanted to be metal. Alright, anything else we need to pick up here? Let's get these little bits. The whole idea, of course, is you're just pulling little accent features out from the mech. Makes it more realistic, breaks up the color. Makes everybody happy. I'll come back in with gold and do more gold accents in a little bit once I'm done with the lead belcher. Alright, for the archer, of course, wouldn't be the archer without the missile racks. So we're going to highlight those because it's the last thing many mech warriors see before they're drowning in LRMs. Archer's missile racks opening up. Raining down destruction. Fire and brimstone. There we go. Give him some character. So if you're going to have the missile pod doors open, then you may as well be highlighting them, make them the focus of the mech. Anything that's not red or dark copper is going to be highlighted. So weapons, missile racks. Eventually their cockpits will be a nice bright blue once we get there. But in the meantime, we do this. Not too shabby. That's already longer than the review I did on this star. That kind of joke review went up last night. It's kind of being silly when I did the 60-second unboxing and review. Hey, they look neat. If you like Battletech, you should probably get them. There you go. Here's your review. I've seen a few out there that are quite long. I don't think I can sit through 45 minutes of review on a star of Battlemechs that we've all seen many times before. But, hey, it works for them, so it's all good. To each his her own. Alright, I think I want to do the fists on the archer because unlike the other 4 mechs in the star, it actually has fists. So I want to highlight them. We don't have anybody to pick things up. Well, someone call the archer. We'll go over the lead belcher with a wash to dull it up a little bit because it is awfully shiny unless you wash it, and of course the wash will go into all those little nooks and crannies and dirty things up a little bit because I don't like a clean Battlemech. I like a Battlemech that looks like it's been in a fight or two. I've seen lots of people doing the box openings and and kind of reviewing this star, but I'm hoping I can be one of the first to actually get it done and get picks up, and that way everybody can see that I actually can paint a mech. He's painted one or two over the years, or dozens or hundreds. Alright, looks pretty good. Again, kind of going light with the lead belcher, because more accenting will be done with gold later. And the lead belcher, and just to match the theme from my other battle mechs that I do, I kind of hit the weapons with the lead belcher, and then all the other stuff is other colors. So it's consistent across all of the lances that I do. The lead belcher is highlights weapons. Could be my thing, if there is such a thing as a thing. Hard to not like the Timberwolf design. It's just a good looking mech. Going all the way back to that compendium that my brother bought home. Like, ooh, look at that thing. Whatever faction has that is what we're going to play. And so that's how we ended up with the clans. Stinking clanners. For the best, though. It's a friendly rivalry. Just you're sitting on Terra, and it doesn't belong to you. So what can I say? Go away. Don't have to stay. Don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The rack. I've been watching that Arcane series on Netflix. It's pretty good. I was watching it while working out last night, and my younger son came in, and I was like, this is kind of borderline for a 7-year-old, but he can sit and watch it for a while. And then he got called out of the room just before the characters went into a brothel. And so I'm like, wow, that was really convenient timing. Called out just before that. I'm like, yeah, it's good parenting. Try to avoid the brothel scenes with an under 10. Not that you would understand what it was, but it's all good. But now he really likes that Jinx character. He's like, I like the crazy one who throws bombs. Alright. I guess you have a type. Right. Looking good. If anybody said anything, I have no idea because chat is being wonky. If you're there, you can talk. You can yell at me. You're doing that wrong. I would paint that differently. It's fine. I won't take anything personally. Taught middle school for years. You can't hurt my feelings. That would always throw off kids early on in the school year. Like, try to push your buttons and see what you see how you react. Like, yeah, if I were capable of having human feelings after being a middle school teacher for 14 years, then yeah, I guess that would hurt. But sorry, kid. Just been worn out. Just stop caring what people say after a while when you do your own thing. Which is an odd concept for middle school, because when you're in middle school, your whole existence seems based on what other people think about you, which is contrary to having good mental health. But that's brain development for you. Alright. Again, just pulling a few details out with the lead belcher, and we'll hit others with gold. Because these are the Wolf's Dragoons. This isn't just some run-of-the-mill mercenary corp. Cream of the crop here with a Timber Wolf. Those aren't exactly cheap in the inner sphere. Alright. Good old blackjack. I wonder if they noticed as they were compiling the star. We got 4 mechs with guns for arms and only 1 with hands. God forbid the archer dies and then another one of them falls over. Getting up without help. Suspension of disbelief, right? Part of the fun of Battletech is how silly and absurd it is. So you gotta just embrace it. Why would they spend all of that money on gyros to get a walking mech when you can use any number of other military machines? A combination of tanks and helicopters and off-road vehicles. Just run with it. Don't question it. It's fine. It'll be fine. It's fine. Totally fine. Let's check something real quick. All right. Well, that's fine. Trying to get workers back in here. They claim they're working on the cabinet doors for our bookshelves. So hopefully they are in the shop today, getting those painted up, and hopefully get them installed this week. And then we are so close to being done. It's crazy. Got floors, got the shelving, just a little bit of paint that needs to be fixed, a few holes they've bumped in the walls while doing other things need to be repaired. And then we will be done with this project. We'll be able to set up the gaming table and play Battletech and not have to worry about cleaning up at the end of the evening. Just have a gaming table set up. Actually do like narrative 40K stuff. Maybe even do a Battletech battle report. That'd be cool. Get my 12-year-old to play like actual rules. So when I play Battletech with my younger kid, who he does love he loves the IP, he loves Battlemechs and all that, but he's not quite old enough for the full game. So we play house rules Battletech, where we basically just roll the dice and say, all right, well, this one won because this die is higher. Little kid Battletech. Still have to, once the remodel is done, I can start getting out there and hopefully find someone in the community who runs Battletech and can play. Thankfully, there is a local game shop that has Battletech stuff. In fact, I need to go down there this week and see if they will order those play mats, because the shipping directly from Catalyst is crazy high. Like basically, if you just want one play mat, the shipping to my house is doubles the price. Very nearly doubles the price. Not exactly conducive to lots of orders from Catalyst. Rather than get the local game shop put in an order, get it delivered, then I will buy it from the store, even if I have to pay a little bit higher to give the store their cut. It's fine, rather than paying almost $20 in shipping. Pretty crazy. Alright, so there's our lead belcher. Get that put away. It's a Yammer. Yammer. Alright, should we do some gold? Could do kind of a bronze. Already kind of doing that dark bronze. And maybe if I hit it with a lighter one, you can do that on the legs. That'll work. Alright, we need a wet palette. Good old Army Painter wet palette. Been useful. As you can probably tell, the water tends to evaporate into the top. Find a dry place here. Put down some paint. Ugh, this bronze thing just wants to explode. There's been a kind of weird thing with the paint pots. Sometimes they just spew paint out, which is inconvenient when you just want a little drop. But it's an imperfect world. Alright, so this is Weapon Bronze from Army War Painter. Army Painter. Good. So kind of close to, if you're looking for the analogs, actually very close to the Retributor armor from Citadel. It's just slightly different color, but very bright, similar in that respect. Oh, there's this guy. Did a little bit of work on him last night. Did another wash on the top, and did his lovely mouth, looking all kind of gross. Good healthy gums, very important. Even bullets know that they need to take good care of their teeth. Brush teeth, kids. There you go. Here's your public service announcement of the day. Alright, I'm going to use a smaller brush for this, just because the gold will be a little bit more selective here. So I do want to hit something on the legs for each of these with the gold. So we're going to pick something out. Let's do these lines. Kind of similar to what I did with the lead belcher up top. Make a mess. Way too much air because it just exploded out of the bottle. Alright, we got this neat little pentagon that in. Anything you want to highlight to help pull pieces of the Battlemech out of the background and into the foreground of your eye as you look at the mech. That's the plan. How's it going, Maker? Thank you, thank you. We're just hanging out, painting some mechs. Enjoying the calm between storms. Yeah, I'm really happy with the red as it came out here. I think it fits with the theme of the Wolf's Dragoons. Kind of red and dark metal. Something you see on the battlefield and you instantly know you're in for some trouble. The last thing you want to do is run into these guys. They will ruin your whole day. Alright, so get kind of some hitting the little tiny minor stuff with the gold just to pull it out of the background. I'll do this little armor plate here. Breaking up the red a little bit. So you're not just seeing a sea of red armor. And again, it looks more realistic when everything is not just one flat color. Yep, coming along. So I was saying earlier that I really like the Annihilator because it looks like a realistic thing. Looks like something you would actually design for this purpose of being a weapons platform with the sloped armor on the front rather than flat plate armor as the Rifleman has that would just soak up fire. So always been fond of the Annihilator. Plus it's a really good mech. Maybe we should find the card. The cards, there they are. Saxon Pierce here. Blackjack. Let's see here. Oh, there's the Annihilator's on top. That's good. Cards are stuck together. Get your Annihilator. I don't play Alpha Strike, so some of this stuff doesn't make sense to me. Good looking mech. Nope, there. The Annihilator doesn't look. The paint scheme doesn't look that far from what I've been painting. What do you think of all of my tanks and mechs? From what I can remember, I really like them. I think it's been a while since I've seen one, so I'm not recalling off the top of my head. Let's put this here. Well, I haven't seen any like really poor paint jobs in a really long time. I think everyone as a community has just gotten better at this in the past couple of years. Just like actually putting in the effort and picking up skills. I guess we did something during the surviving through the plague. Got to do something with our time. Yeah, it's been awesome seeing what everyone's doing. I love hanging out on the Battletech hashtag and just seeing what everybody's doing. It's cool stuff. There's really no such thing as a poorly painted Battlemech, because it's a painted Battlemech and it's awesome just on the fact that it's been done. Somebody put enough care into it to finish it, so that makes it awesome. I just think it's the coolest thing in the world that people still play this game when there's so many kind of newer things out there that would easily kind of overwhelm it, but the community is so passionate that they're not gonna let it go. So, of course, we're lucky that Catalyst has been around to kind of keep the torches lit. Bringing stuff back into production. Like I just picked up that the 3050 technical readout because I think I have the original somewhere in a box, but I haven't been able to find it. So I wanted it because my youngest is learning the mech names. So unable to find it, I just purchased a new one. That's it. Have 2 copies somewhere. But it's good that those books are still being printed, or even if just in PDF form. Alright, I think we're good with the gold there. I don't want to overdo it and make it a gold mech. It's not supposed to be a gold mech. It's supposed to be a red and dirty steel mech. Alright, let's do our radar antenna up here. So what are you working on today, Maker? Something epic. I'm just excited to get my Hobby Vices gift sent off this afternoon. I'm going to go pick up my son from school. We'll swing by the shipping place and get it tossed in. Hopefully they'll get it within a week or so. Super excited. I was peeking at he doesn't have a Twitter account, but he does have, the recipient does have an Instagram. So I've kind of seen some of the stuff that he's done, which is kind of neat. So I'll try to pick out things that he would find useful. Let's do if we did these great silver, let's do these ones gold. Steady fingers. Hold it steady. I don't know what I'm going to do when I get too old to paint. I'm going to be in trouble. So I have to paint increasingly large models, so my hand shaking won't affect it too much. Getting old. Darn Gen Xers. Alright, what else will need to be gold here? Let's do the side plates. So you're working on anything cool, Maker? Get to something. Alright, I think we're good for the Rifleman. Timberwolf time. Definitely have to do this gold, because that's awesome. I have to show the Timberwolf some extra love here. When I was asking my buddy what he wanted for mechs for Christmas, just printing off the ones that he wants. He's like, yeah, just print me off like 8 Timberwolves. I'll be happy. Like, oh, just 8? You're showing remarkable restraint. Okay, as you're packing them up. Oh yeah, okay. Cool. New designs, that's awesome. Care package for your dad. Cool. You should take a swing at some Max, sure. You won't look back and say, "Oh, I regret doing that." You know. It might not turn out as you expect, but it rarely does. Sometimes I'll start a unit and not really have a plan for what it'll be or what it'll look like. I'll just be like, I'm gonna pick a color and work off of that color. So I'm just gonna prime them blue or prime them red in this case and see what happens. Occasionally end up with something that looks cool. Catching the edge here. Oh, I should probably do it on camera. It's far more impressive if you do it on camera. I'll just tell you what I'm doing. Theater of the mind, right? And then I'm showing a really advanced painting technique. No. We don't do that here. Occasionally try glazing and blending colors. There you go. Start. I never release a bad design. That's good. So long as you're not a perfectionist who thinks that you never make a good design, and then you're constantly trashing stuff that would actually be good too. Finished a null blade prop with clear green blade. That sounds interesting. I don't have enough Battletech terrain. That's something I need to work on. It's getting dry already. Do some emergency watering here for the wet palette that's not behaving very wet. Better, sort of. Stay wet. Don't dry out on me. Alright. Send me some pictures. I can make some terrain designs. Anything that fits within that hex, the standard Battlemech hex, think it's 30 millimeters edge to edge would be useful. Buildings are always good. Industrial stuff at the 6 mil scale. There's some good stuff out there already, but typically not up for grabs. I guess would be the polite way of saying free. I'm not opposed to buying stuff that's high quality, but I prefer to pay people who I know who create stuff and actually care about Battletech. Oh, missed a massive line there. Always check your mold lines. There's that mold line running right down the back of his arm. And that is way too late to fix, so I'm not going to do it. It's an imperfect world. Usually try to be careful about that kind of thing. I didn't notice I got the ones on the front of his legs. He also had mold lines here. It's probably the worst mech in the box for mold lines. It's the Timberwolf. I gotta do something on his legs to be gold here. I'll smash my head into the light. Do I want to do that whole front patch? Alright, let's go for it. I was talking to someone this morning about doing Battlemech Bases out of MDF. So kind of sent her the measurements, and she's going to print out a bunch of bases in MDF that are 2 parts. So it'll have the top flat hex part, and then a second part that makes them a little thicker and creates that opening for magnets on the bottom. So I figure it would be cheaper to do that out of MDF than keep printing out bases in resin, which resin's a little bit too expensive for that kind of low-level work. I'd rather spend my resin on making more Battlemechs rather than. All right, so that'll work. Get a little bit more gold than the other mechs, but it's the Timberwolf, so he gets a little bit of extra preferential treatment. Little fans back here. Gotta stay cool with your gold-plated fans. Good. On to the Archer. Someone was working on terrain that were just the hexes, shaped like hexes, and so you can go up 1 level, 2 level, 3 level, etc. Which would be neat as well. Again, it wouldn't be the first time it's been done, but those would be nice to have as well. I don't know if they'd be best in MDF or in resin. Though with resin it could get kind of pricey because it's a lot of square footage. But it'd be good to have like maybe groups of 3 in various orientations, groups of 3 or 4. That way you could mix them around and put them where you want them to be. Generate some random terrain on the fly. Should I get the Archer's card out while we're doing that? I feel like we missed the opportunity there with the Timberwolf. Here, we'll do the Timberwolf too next to it. So you may not believe me, but it was completely accidental how closely these are coming to the pictures on the cards. So the pictures on the cards are they have a lot less red and a lot more of the darker color on the legs. Maybe great minds think alike in the design department. Alright, let's see what else needs to be gold on the Archer. We got missile pods we missed on there from Iron. And if you're playing the drinking game at home, drink, because I just smacked my head against the light. That's the rule. Let's do the shoulder pad here. Painting on stream is a lot different than painting on your own. Because so often, I'll hold it up to the camera. So often when I'm painting, it's under the light. It's like this. But then when you're painting under the camera, you're trying to make sure it's in the right place for the camera, because it's not all about you. So I'm probably going to need a new glasses prescription here soon. So I'm just going to paint by sound and feel here. It sounds like the right place, more or less. Right, on the back, obvious things that can be gold. Let's do the little tips here. And again, a little gold. I guess it's copper. Sorry, or bronze. Weapon bronze. Point is to break up the red, so it's not just one big wall of that. I'm still going to come by afterwards and hit red panels with the bright red, because again, once it's been washed with Agrax Earthshade, it's going to be a duller red. So everything now has kind of a brown tint to it. But I can hit these armor panels with the bright red, the same red that I used to paint the mech itself, and it'll brighten it back up. Standard grimdark painting technique. Actually need the lead belcher for a couple of things I missed on the Archer. Go in here. Missed the barrel of a gun on the Archer and a couple missile tubes. One thing I definitely need to find is my record sheet books. So I used to have 3-ring binders full of record sheets that we either had from the record sheet books you could buy and from ones we just made or copied from elsewhere. I haven't found those yet. Probably in the same box that has the technical readouts that I can't find. We've always up until now lived in a house that was way too small for us, and so things that I valued were oftentimes in boxes, and they've been in boxes for 20 years. So finding them is a little bit of a challenge. All right, so we don't need more lead belcher. Hope springs eternal. We will find them someday. once the bookshelves are done and I can actually unpack some of the hundreds of books, that will create all sorts of room. Downside of collecting history books is you have to lug them around. It's somewhat of a chore. Especially since all the history books I usually had at home, plus all the books that I had in my classroom for years. So I've got 3 or 4 copies of some book that was useful in a class research project, like when we did medieval history in class. I've got 4 or 5 copies of this or that book, an encyclopedia, medieval encyclopedia. Really useful when you have a class full of kids who all want to look at the same book, but when you don't do it anymore, not quite as useful. You can give them out as gifts or something. So I don't really need more than one. I'll let my 7-year-old destroy it with his aggressive reading style. He's a little harsh on books. Focus. There you go, camera. You're going to keep moving because I'm going to keep bumping you. That's how it goes. Alright. I heard good things about this variant of the blackjack. Where's it? Here. Let's find the card for it. Come on, blackjack. Where are you? There you are. Blackjack. Case 2. So this is like a newer version of the blackjack. I don't even know what weapons it has. Weapons, it doesn't really say on the Alpha Strike card. J2. I'd have to look that up on I think the BJ2. I'd have to look up on Sarna to look and see if I heard good things and said it was a good mech, so hopefully we'll find out. Never underestimate a good medium mech. They have a way of making their presence known on the battlefield. I think maybe they get underestimated a little bit by the big guys. Everybody wants the big kill on the Marauder or Dire Wolf or Annihilator. Lets the blackjack have a chance to get ahead and do some damage. Coming along here. Let's see. I need one more gold thing on the front. No on the sides. Let's see here. Let's do this little circle. I think I'm going to have to adjust that face camera. It's mostly just capturing the back of my head to find a better spot for it. Slowly record the balding process as it creeps over. It's alright. All glory is fleeting, especially hair. Alright, I think we're good with the gold, with the bronze. wash on the lead belcher. So for that we need some of everyone's favorite wash, good old Known oil. I think this is the right one. I have a no. This is the old. This is the old crummy Known oil. There's the new stuff. As I said yesterday, I need someone to come organize my paint for me every day. Here, I'll use some Wargamer wash if I can find it. There's light tone, mid brown. Where's dark? Military shader. Not exactly what I needed, but good to have. Get a picture of my arm. I don't need purple. I can enjoy the view of my arm. Where is it? There we go. Dark tone. The Army Painter version of Known oil. Put that away. We'll get out our handy dandy tray. If you don't already have these for your painting, these are awesome. Get them off of Amazon. You get like a huge pack and you'll never run out. Good stuff. No, I'm not sponsored by the plastic injection mold company that made them. No sponsorships today. Or ever. Because I've got no reach. That's okay. Alright, so I'm going to put these away so I don't get any Known oil on them. Any shader on them. Dark tone wash, anyway. And add some character to this. Guns. Oh, it's so much fun when they just fill the barrel perfectly, and now it looks like you drilled your barrels. As I don't drill Battlemech barrels. Do I look insane? Don't answer that. I'm sure there's someone out there that does, and now he's going to be offended. Sorry. Not sorry. If you drill your Battlemech barrels, that's fine. I won't judge you. Being sponsored is a lot of work. Yeah. Ideally, in a perfect world, I'd like to support good companies, and I try to shout out good products when I see them. An actual sponsorship I'm not holding my breath on because my reach is rather lacking, and Games Workshop's unlikely to want to sponsor me since I do so much 3D printing. I think I completely missed that underside of that barrel. I have to come back for that. Probably don't want to sponsor someone who does a whole lot of 3D printing. He constantly talks it up. I've got nothing against Games Workshop as a company. They do what they're going to do. Nope. I did decide not to go for a holiday box this year, just because I've already printed out so much and my backlog is crazy that even if I did buy it, it would just end up sitting on the shelf for another year. Plus the box that I was the most interesting was the Necron box to me, but I already have all of those figures, at least one unit of each of those figures. So it's not something I needed. So I could spend that money on other things. I think I already have the Doom Stalker here. It's still in the wrapper because I haven't had a chance to do it yet. But someday, I realized the other day it's been super long time since I did a Space Marine. There's that old kind of YouTube cliche that, oh, if you want to get super popular, then paint up a Space Marine. You know, I think I did the Tech Marine, I think a couple of months ago, or a month ago, but that's it. Probably need to do another one here one of these days. I don't know, that tech. If you don't paint a Space Marine for a while, do your skills atrophy? I guess we'll find out. Where do you paint this again? In a perfect world, I'd be sponsored enough to move out of yes. That sounds like a good element of the perfect world. Being able to move out to a place where you're healthy and happy is important. That's for sure. I'm always grateful for where I ended up after a long career. You just happen to be in the right place in the right time for various things. Though the first house we ever bought, it was basically all the money we had to put the down payment on a house back in 2007. And if you know your history, what happens in 2007 and 2008 is that the housing market collapses. And so we went under. I think we paid $235 for a little tiny house. I think it was 750 square feet. Not a very big house. And we rapidly filled it up with 2 children and all of their associated belongings. And it took us years to get out from under that. That because we wanted to move to a bigger house, we saved our money, but we were still. That house wasn't worth over 200 again for I think 3 years. So we finally ended up selling it. I think we pretty much broke even on it. And between that and being able to pull a little bit of equity out of it, and we were able to get a bigger house. It was just slightly bigger, and we were there for I think 5 or 6 years. 6 years. But what we got shellacked in the housing collapse. We kind of made out like bandits this time. Selling our house this spring was just like the perfect time in the market. In fact, we had an offer on the house that was way above asking, and not even an inspection on it. So all of that, there was none of that wrangling over, will you fix this and fix this? No, it was, here, we have 3 offers, and we'll take yours, but there's not going to be fixing anything. So you kind of take it as is. So I didn't have to hire any workmen or replace anything. And just enough money to move. Required moving across the state, but we moved across the state to a bigger house. So now we finally have a place where it's big enough for the kids to grow up in, and in a pretty decent neighborhood. So I'm very thankful for Mostly my wife who puts up with me. We make a good team. So you can see the wash went right into those missile barrels. So that makes them look awesome. And a little dry and looking better. You're in a skill trade. Well, that's awesome because that's where you want to be right now. Can I ask what skilled trade? Specifically? Just out of curiosity. There's definitely high demand for people who can actually do things right now. I think that's going to be the same for a very long time. Keeping everybody else alive is such an important thing. Industrial mechanics sponsored. Well, that's a good. That's something I would love to see my son get into, because he loves doing the AutoCAD stuff on the computer. He's very savvy with that, and he likes to do drawing. So that's exactly where I'd want him to end up. He says he wants to go to art college, so that may fade with time and his discovery that doesn't pay much. Being a starving artist is maybe romantic, but we'll support him on whatever he wants to do, but holy cow, it's something useful. I mean, like, I'd happily pay to send you to plumber school or become an electrician or something like that. And keep the world functioning. Alright, so I have to decide what to do with these bases. So it's not normal like with my 3D printing stuff where I just do the industrial grate base. Maybe I can do a street. That would require painting it black. That would be interesting. I've been hurt for almost 2 years. Millwright is 45 per hour plus. That's an insanely good rate. Well, I'm sorry you've been hurt. That's rough. Part of the reason I had to get out of teaching was for health reasons. I sympathize, though. Where's my black here? My issues aren't immediately visible. You'd have to see my blood pressure printout to really understand what the issue was. You go into the doctor, and the doctor's like genuinely shocked by your blood pressure. That's a pretty good sign you need to do something about it. What do you do for a living? Oh, I teach middle schoolers. Like, oh, you got to quit doing that. Oh, I'm sorry. Hand just doesn't work right now. Those hands. I don't know how old you are, but as you get older, that steadiness tends to fade a little bit. I'm sorry your hands hurt, bud. It's not great. Though it is heartening seeing just how many people with disabilities have gotten into wargaming over the years. It's been really kind of cool to see that accessibility. Like charities like Able Gamers and other groups that I want to help people enjoy life. Fixing the world while you love charity. That's cool. And you probably heard it from me before, but you gotta do one thing every day that makes the world a slightly better place. That's my rule. You have to result in a net benefit for existing. Sorry, that's sometimes easier said than done, but we have to take advantage of the fact that we get to exist in this time and place and make the most of it. Even if you just can point at one little thing. I did this one good thing for someone else today. That's what I try to do. Connected, reconnected. I lost my connection there for a second. Hopefully it's up and running again. And let me know if you can hear me. So, painted black. I'm going to scuff up the edges to make it look like a worn street, and then I'll see if I can't sneak a brush in there and paint the the street lines. We'll do the laziest basing tactic possible here, because I'm not pulling these mechs off the bases. I know you can, but it's a little hard to do once they're already painted. Toy-free widgets for people. This more. Cool. Yeah, for my oldest son, I printed off a bunch of little resin trinkets on the printer for him to go to school with and give to his buddies. He's making new friends at the new school, so little Christmas trinkets. So grateful that he has made some friends. He's got his after-school D&D group that's meeting today. You get to pick him up and harass him at the end of the day and go, "Alright, did you kill all the dragons?" And he'll say, "No, but we captured a goblin and then tortured him." Like, wow, that's brutal. I think the story went, they got attacked by goblins. They were guarding a wagon, and some goblins attacked, and a goblin scuffed his shoe. And so to get back at the goblin that they didn't kill, is they captured him and tortured him until he gave up the location of their cave. So they're going to go explore the cave. It seemed a little brutal to me, but I guess that's just how it goes. Nice RPGs way than drug dudes. Yeah. I'm not too worried about him exploring with that. He won't even. He's such a picky eater, and he doesn't like trying new things. So that he doesn't even like drinking soda pop. So he doesn't like the feeling on his tongue. So I'm not too concerned about him experimenting with, with things. He'll experiment with Dungeons and Dragons, and I think you heard a little rumbling from one of his buddies overhearing that there might be a romantic interest out there at school. nothing secure yet. Should probably not talk about it on stream. That would be embarrassing for him. Though he doesn't listen to these. Now my younger kid, that's the one I have to worry about because he's a little Casanova. We took him to this place called the Little Gym and did like gymnastics lessons for a while. And there was a little girl in the class with a bow in her hair. He really likes the girls who have bows in their hair. But she was very interested in sitting next to him and being all like buddy and kind of, I get to sit next to Neil. Well, one day in class, there was another girl who was also in his kindergarten class who also wanted to sit next to him. So they're sitting down on the floor, and you got one girl on one side, the other girl on the other side, and my son in the middle with just this shit-eating grin on his face, like, look, I got both these girls to like me. And he's going to be trouble. Like, oh, it's kindergarten. He's already starting with that. That's gonna be something. Silly kid. So interesting how different a personality that two kids can have. That's for sure. One's kind of reserved and definitely not that much of a social creature, and the other one is just wants to be friends with everybody. And you take him to the playground, and anyone he sees at the playground he wants to be friends with, and he'll walk up to them with no fear and say, "Hey, will you play with me?" And it's really funny when it's like middle school students because they just look at him like he's crazy. But several times he's done that, and they've been like, "Sure, yeah, let's play." And I think part of that is the fact that his brother is 5 years older, so he's not afraid of bigger kids. He actually likes playing with older kids. I should probably paint on cam. Not that painting black on a base is super interesting, but it's what's happening. So we're kind of back to square one here with a black base. Did all that painting and then back. That's the future, baby. Let's see. We're slowly working on the other members of our family. We kind of moved across the state, and so now we're working on getting everyone else to move this way too. And slowly get both sides of our family to make the trek over here. It's like, hey, it's nice out here. It's low stress. There's plenty of jobs. You can buy a bigger house. Slowly working. My parents are looking at coming out here, and Mrs. Mechfrog's parents are actually already purchasing a house over here, so it's working. Slowly get the whole family out here. I've been going for an hour and a half already. It didn't feel like an hour and a half. Must be productive. Time goes faster when you're being productive. I'd like to finish these guys tonight, actually. Alright, got the bases. Looking good. As I paint my microphone. thing the microphone's already black. So now it's a slightly darker black. Two free widgets. I used to use the term widget in math problems all the time with students. You'd have to have that conversation. What's a widget? Well, here's your engineering lesson for the day. Cross curriculum learning there. All right, base is mostly dry here. Looking forward to doing that cockpit. It's gonna be fun. Rifleman's cockpit's nice and big in front, so it's actually pretty easy to do. Timberwolf's a little bit more challenging for a cockpit because it's all little segmented little pieces. So it's a little bit of a challenge. Archer's okay, and Blackjack's a little hairy because it's got the side windows. But we will give it a try here. Alright, we need some blue. The wet palette's actually wet again, which is good. The important part of a wet palette is to be actually wet. Need a new piece of paper here soon. Need some more water. It's the crucial portion of the wet palette. Oh, absolutely. Top of well, because you're the practical to their theoretical, right? You're actually solving the problem, creating the tool, versus what looked good on the computer screen, rather than Yep. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, for a few years I taught an intro to engineering class, and it's going to emphasize that idea that this computers are great, but there's always going to be that kind of practical side as well, where you actually have the machine to make it, and there's people who run those machines and people who design those machines and actually build them. It's pretty cool. Team effort. Where is that super brush? Alright. The super handy dandy Army Painter Insane Detail Brush. It's always a bad sign when something's labeled insane. That's usually not a good sign. We'll take a look at that, how they did the cockpit on the Annihilator here. Annihilator, where are you? There you are. Alright, well, they just have the one circle. Well, let's see here. Let's see if the camera can magnify it for me. So it looks like the one circle and then the two on each side. Just barely. So we'll do that. We'll copy. So we'll go into the base blue. This is where I hold my breath. It doesn't have to be exact because I'm going to put a blue wash over the top once it's dry that will fill in the edges and make them darker anyway. So really it's just a matter of getting the middle blue. Oh, the edges are so small. Alright. Hold your breath. Ugh, oh, too old for that. Hand is shaking so much. Alright, well, that's going to have to do, because the more I touch it, the more I'm going to make it worse. So the reason why they call us mill wrongs, right? So you can't upset me. Without men like me, there's no world. I hear you. Got to have the people who fix things and keep things running. An incredibly complex world. Lots of intricate interconnecting parts. And they all gotta work. Lest we discover real quickly how real things can get. And suddenly deciding what pictures you can post on Twitter will be the least of everyone's issues. Base coating blue, and then we'll come back with the wash, and then we'll do the details on top of that. How's it going, Lord Metal Man? Staying out of trouble? Lots of talk, not a lot of doing. Yeah, amen. Was I like having like five managers to tell you what to do when you're the only one there who actually knows what to do? Yeah, this is a lance of Wolf's Dragoons painting up. It's a brand new box that came out. Yep. Doing a little detail work and hopefully get them done tonight and get them posted, and good times had by all. Showcase the shakiest hands on live stream. Doing this at a distance. And usually I'm holding it super close to my face. Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge. So that's the thing. Huge trouble. Must be a day that ends in Y, right? Play the video game? Yes. It kind of depends on which one you're talking about. But yeah, I played like the most recent Battletech game. But it's the kind of isometric top-down. Not top-down, but kind of behind. I haven't played MechWarrior 5. I'm kind of waiting on that one. Played MechWarrior Online back in the day when it was brand new and kind of burnt out on it. Probably pick it up one of these days when it's on sale somewhere. Yeah, the turn-based one's awesome. There's a much older version of the same type of game called Mech Commander, and I played the heck out of that back in the day. Being a big Battletech fan and all. Oh, that was just like accidentally perfect. Whew. Did that side window like accidentally perfect. Like if I here as I try to replicate it here, I'm gonna screw it up. Holy shit. Okay, that worked too. Good thing I'm recording this. I don't think anyone would believe me if I said I just did that. Yeah, MechWarrior 2. Yeah, one of our first PC games on our brand new 386 25 megahertz computer was MechWarrior 2, and it didn't have enough working memory, so we had to create a boot disk for it, but we got it running and then played the heck out of it. So MechWarrior, MechWarrior 2, Mech Commander, all awesome games. Alright, so I'm going to show you my secret for an excellent cockpit here. So we did base color blue. Looks kind of boring. But this is where the where Citadel helps us out here with the contrast Talsar blue, and this is so bright that it even when it goes into the corners and darkens up the corners, it still is kind of a bright thing, and it looks cool. So we'll give it. Show you how it works. So you get in the tray here, the magical paint holding tray of lid holding +2. There you go. The cards away. Let the blue dry for a second before I hit it with the wash. It's over there. All right. Small brush. Smallish brush. I'll use the Citadel one because I don't care about it. Oh, we forgot to do the cockpit for the Timberwolf. Phooey. All right. We'll come back. It's only forward. There's no brakes on this train. All right. Hit it with the blue. It's going to go in all the little nooks and crannies and flow off of the surface and look kind of cool. It has kind of a gloss to it, which will aid with the effect. And it's really working well with the red here, because actually when it hits the... Okay, focus. When it hits the edge with the red, it's actually making that slight purple mix, and so it makes that effect even better. So that's kind of the step 2 on making a decent cockpit, and then I'll come back and do the little light effect on the cockpit, and it will make it pop. Same deal there. Just filling it in. A little razzle dazzle, make your mech better. Showcase the shaky hand. Movies have shaky cam, well, my stream has shaky hand. Know it, love it. Can't get enough of it. Thank you, sir. Actually, I think I have another mech I've done this on. Maybe I can grab it. Where's it even up here? Yeah, I'll see soon enough. Alright, unfortunately, I'm going to have to wrap things up here. Got fish to fry, things to do, people to see, work to get done around the house here. Stream tonight, yeah, you do what you can when you can, right? All right, thank you for coming out, saying hi, and I'll definitely be finishing these bad boys up tonight, and hopefully getting pictures and video up soon. So I appreciate you coming out. Take care, be awesome, and make the world a slightly better place for tomorrow.